All right, let's just get right into it. If you're online at all, you cannot escape this one debate. Is this massive explosion in artificial intelligence the real deal, or is it just another tech bubble that's about to burst?
And, you can't blame people for being skeptical, right? You hear it all the time that nothing truly new is happening, that the models have kind of stalled out, and that this is all just a big repeat of the dot-com bust. But then there's the other side of the coin. What if this isn't just hype? What if we're actually living through fundamental change in how the world works? Something on the same scale as the PC or the internet itself. So to try and cut through all that noise, we're going to lean on a really sharp report from a veteran tech analyst, Benedict Evans. It's called AI Eats the World, and he lays out this amazing framework for really understanding what's going on. Okay, so the first big idea we need to wrap our heads around is what he calls a platform shift. The argument is that technology doesn't just inch forward. No, every so often, it takes these huge seismic leaps. And when you look back, you can see this super clear pattern. Every 10 or 15 years, a new platform just comes along and changes everything. You had mainframes, then bam, the PC shows up. Then the web, then the smartphone. And the whole argument here is that generative AI, well, that's the next one.
And this is maybe the most important rule of these shifts. Being the king of one era gives you zero guarantee you'll win the next. I mean, think about Microsoft. They were the absolute, undisputed champions of the PC world. But when the smartphone wave came, they completely whiffed it. And a whole new set of winners, Apple and Android, took over. That history explains all the paranoia in big tech today.
And that fear, that paranoia of missing the next big thing, it explains everything about what's happening right now. It all comes down to this quote from Alphabet's CEO, Sundar Pichai. For these guys, they would much rather spend billions and be wrong than save the money and risk getting left behind. For them, it's an existential threat.
So, that paranoia? It leads directly to our next point, which is just the absolutely insane amount of cash being thrown at AI. This is where that bubble talk starts to feel pretty real.
I mean, just try to get your head around these numbers. We're talking about $400 billion. That's the projected spending for just 4 companies in 2025 alone. This isn't just an investment, it's a frantic arms race, fueled by the fear of being left behind.
And this isn't just numbers on a spreadsheet. You can literally see it reshaping the world around us. Look at this. In the US, we are now spending more money building data centers than we are on new office buildings. The physical landscape is being rewritten by this digital gold rush.
Okay, but here's where the money trail gets really, really weird. It's created this bizarre circular economy. So Google and Meta, they buy billions in chips from Nvidia. What does Nvidia do with all that cash? They turn around and invest it in AI startups like OpenAI. And what did those startups do with the investment? They, you guessed it, buy more chips from Nvidia. It's this wild self-fueling loop just to keep the whole thing going. So with all this money and all these chips flying around, you'd think the whole game is just about building the one single best AI model, right? Well, according to the report, that's not really the battle anymore. The idea is that the core tech is becoming a commodity. And the report has this perfect analogy, potatoes, right? Once everybody's selling potatoes, and they're all pretty good potatoes, you can't really win by having a slightly better potato. The game shifts. It becomes about price, who you trust, and your brand. And you can see the potato principle playing out right here. Look, even if a competitor's model is technically just as good or maybe even slightly better than ChatGPT, it almost doesn't matter. ChatGPT got there first. It built the brand. It got the distribution. That's the real advantage now. But, and this is a huge but, there's a really interesting puzzle in the data. A ton of people are trying these tools out. Weekly users for ChatGPT are high, but look at this. The number of people using it every single day, it's way, way lower.
And that brings us to what might be the single most important question for the whole AI industry right now. Why? What's the deal? Why aren't people making this a daily habit?
And the answer seems to be that there's no lock-in. Think about it. With social media, you're there because your friends are there. That's a network effect. But with AI, there's nothing stopping you from jumping from ChatGPT to Gemini to Claude and back again in the same afternoon. So the race is on to find that one killer app that makes you have to come back every day. Okay, so that's the big tech battle. But what does it mean for the rest of us? If you're not running a multi-billion-dollar tech company, how should you be thinking about all this?
This is where the report gives us this absolutely brilliant analogy.
Stop thinking of AI as some kind of godlike superbrain. Instead, think of it like this. AI gives you infinite interns. They're super fast, have tons of energy, and they can churn out work like you wouldn't believe. But, and this is key, they're going to make some mistakes. And that infinite interns idea perfectly explains where AI is actually winning right now. It's in things like writing code, cranking out marketing copy, or handling basic customer support chats. You know, jobs where you need a lot of work done fast, and a human can easily check it for those little mistakes. So, this is the big takeaway for you, for any business, for any professional out there. The question to ask isn't, when is AI going to take over the world? The real practical question is this. What could you get done if you suddenly had thousands of smart, fast, but kind of clumsy assistants at your beck and call? And that leaves us with one last really big thought. Back when the steam engine came along, it effectively multiplied Great Britain's labor force by 5. And with that power, they built an empire and sparked the Industrial Revolution. So now we have a tool that could give us infinite interns, a massive multiplier on brain power. So yeah, maybe the question isn't bubble or revolution. The real question is, what are we all going to build with it?